Okay, now we're live. Yay, it says we're live. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome. My name is Diane Rose Solomon, and I am the founder of Animal Magic Films. That's us. Thank you for joining us for our 22nd interview in the Science and Magic of the Human-Animal Bond interview series. We will be exploring many of the ways that animals help people and people help animals. It's a both and conversation where we all benefit from this bond. I know I have benefited immensely from my relationship with my pets, from a surprise therapy dog visit in the hospital years ago. I also experienced great joy watching other people heal from their interactions with animals. And I'm in awe of non-companion animals like wild animals, farm animals, and more. So be sure to like this video and subscribe on YouTube and join our Facebook group, The Science and Magic of the Human-Animal Bond. But now I'm going to turn it over because we want to hear from you. And I have a lovely guest today. This is another person who is making our relationships with our pets, our communities, and our natural environment just a little bit better. So please welcome my guest, teacher and co-founder of Canine Commandos, Virginia Hamilton. Hi, Virginia.
Hi everybody.
Welcome. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, it feels like forever.
It feels like forever.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you a little bit about Virginia, and then I have a bunch of questions that I'm going to ask her. So Virginia founded Canine Commandos in 2003 to provide her gifted students a meaningful, memorable, and sustainable community service project, partnering with the shelter dogs because she's dedicated to finding them forever homes. So she has, they've worked with thousands of students, and they've dramatically improved the adoption rate of thousands of dogs, and we'll talk more about that in Brevard County. Good Morning America has nationally recognized the Commandos, as have many other organizations. And Virginia was recently named the Humane Society of the United States National Humane Teacher of the Year. National Teacher of the Year, silver winner. And she's also the Academy for Pro-Social Education Teacher of the Year in 2019. There's a ton more. We could go on. I would be spending the entire interview reading all of the awards and everything and her accolades, but we'll leave it at there. Just trust me, it's a lot. Virginia is all about the animals. She feels that reaching our youngest citizens is the way to go about making changes in our planet. And in fact, her mantra is CHECK, C-H-E-C-K. Compassion, humanity, her favorite word, empathy, caring, and kindness. So those are some of my favorite words too, and an excellent jumping off place. So let me ask you some questions, Virginia. What inspired you to start Canine Commandos?
Well, years ago, I was involved with BARC, Brevardians. We live in Brevard County, Florida. She's squeaking.
That's your dog squeaking. I love it.
Moxie squeaking. So Brevardians Against Racing Canines. That was my first connection with animals. And there was a group of us that got together to try to stop the greyhound racing tracks open up. We failed. Of course, thank goodness we just voted that out. And then I got involved with the animal shelter. I started volunteering, and the shelters were so full of animals. It was so sad. And as a teacher, we were already doing community service events anyway. And I happened to be watching the Animal Planet channel, and they had a dog obedience trainer on there that said the reason that dogs are overlooked for adoption for the most part is because of their unruly behaviors in the kennel. In fact, I just researched and found out that 96% of all dogs in the shelters have had zero training.
Wow.
And he said if you could just train basic commands just a few minutes a day, you could improve those behaviors to make them more highly adoptable. So I thought, wow, my kids would love this. And I had an amazing principal that came on board. The shelter liked the idea. And that was back in 2003 with one class of 25 kids. And last year, we haven't done it because of COVID, but we're up to 30 schools going throughout we're training all 3 shelters in the county. So that's 30 schools. Mm-hmm.
So 30 schools. So how does it work? So your students go one day, but so they go once a month, right?
Yes.
How does it work?
Okay. So I have my sixth graders on Mondays. So we'll go on a Monday and we have these comment cards that the kids fill out while they're training. And we post the comment cards on the dog's runs so that the next day, the school that comes in looks for those cards and then just pulls those dogs so they have consistent training. We also have certified dog trainers that go out with the schools. We have one that does the north end and one that does the south end, and to make sure that the kids are training correctly, keeping the integrity and safety of the program. And then when they're done training that dog, the card goes back, then the group comes in Wednesday, and the hope is the cards are gone so we can just keep on adding more dogs, adding more cards. And those cards are given back to us because when the dog is adopted, there's one little sentence down at the bottom that we ask the new mama, the new pet family, did the fact that the Canine Commandos helped train the dogs, was that a factor in your adoption? They just say yes, no. And that's how the kids keep track of our adoption rate.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So how many thousands of students between all of the schools that work in the Canine Commandos, how many students have
roughly 4,000 since 2003.
And how many dogs have you trained?
Over 2,500. And that's just with hands-on. That's not including the kids that go and read to the dogs. It's not including the kids like they stand up in front of the runs when they're done outside. So like I have a group of 3 or 4 students that are outside that are actually doing the hands-on training. Watch me, sit, stay, down, and come. When we're done, they go inside and they each pick a dog and they stand in front of the dog and they just teach it, watch me, just to get them to pay attention to them, because you've got the staffers walking back and forth. You've got public walking back and forth, which is really cool when the public's walking by, because they'll come by and see the child training the dog, and then they stop and talk to the student, and they just promote the dog. And especially if the public comes out and watches the actual training, we've had dogs pulled from us right then and there during the training saying, okay, just got adopted. And that's we love it. We love it. That is the best feeling.
That is the best feeling.
We socialize cats too, because we can't forget the cats.
So you do that too? You socialize the cats too?
Yeah. Read to the cats, socialize the cats. They need it too.
Of course. That's brilliant. By the way, I haven't yet mentioned, and I think it would be really important to mention, that Animal Magic Films did a short film on Canine Commandos, and we will make sure that it's in the links. Oh, you know what? Let me take this down. Hold on a second. We'll make sure that it's in the links so that everybody can watch it, you know, when we're done speaking, because it was so much fun actually getting in there and watching your kids training the dogs, and people can get a chance to see exactly what you're talking about, which is the kids reading to the dogs and teaching the watch me command. So it was really interesting to see how you do it, which is really phenomenal. Okay, so 30 schools, that's amazing. And you also have founded another organization called AIM Humane. What is that about?
Well, you and I are both certified humane education specialists. Yes. So AIM Humane is a program that we have in the schools where they can actually teach humane education. Last year, I had a group of students that I got to see every Tuesday, and we took it's based off of literature. So, for example, I actually used the one and only Ivan. If you've not read it, it's not dog related, but I wanted to get outside of the shelter world. And it's about circuses, animals in the circuses. And the whole year was spent on teaching the kids about empathy. We watched the gorillas in the wild on the cams and talked about Ivan and how he was taken from a circus, because he lived in a circus 20-something years before he finally was able to go to a zoo. The elephants that are being used in circuses to perform, that type of thing. They actually... and every holiday we pulled in something else. Like on Halloween, we did a black cat project. Thanksgiving, we watched the pardoning of a turkey. They got to see how that did. So the kids all had to pardon their own turkeys. Just little things like that throughout the entire year. The culminating activity was a STEM project where they each we developed our own sanctuary.
Mhm.
So the kids each studied an animal and why it needed to be in a sanctuary or conservation area, and then they all made merry-go-rounds that were some were actually mechanical with their animals on the merry-go-round. So we did, STEM, literature, art, math, because a lot of measuring, a lot of engineering. And so that's where the humane education, AIM Humane, comes into. And then we have sets of class books that the teachers can check out. So maybe they want to check out the dog's purpose. I have that for the older kids. They can check
Mhm.
out a whole class set, lesson plans to go. All they have to do is ask for them. They're shipped to them, and they can take off because everything's done for the teachers, and they just send them back when they're done.
That is amazing. And I've seen your lesson plan because you created one for me for JJ the American Street
And I'm
Dog.
working on your other one.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But it's really amazing because it really makes it easy for a teacher to do the lesson plan, or, I mean, homeschool parents and anybody
Mhm.
that's looking to teach any kind of humane education. You've made it super easy. So can people contact you does it have to be through a school, or can anybody contact
No.
you?
We have the AIM Humane link right on caninecommandos.org. And of course, the teachers can contact me through my teacher link. So they can find me either way.
That's great. And especially now, like, my wheels are turning because during COVID, like, you can't
Mhm.
take the kids to the shelter, right? There's no
Right
field
now,
trips
no,
happening right now,
no,
you
correct.
know. But
Mhm.
this is a way to do some
Mhm.
classroom work together that still does a little bit of I mean, a lot of humane education. You can still do projects.
Right. And us being, you and I being humane education specialists, the act of going to the shelter is the community service part. Well, the kids also do a service learning piece. Well, we
Hmm.
couldn't go to the shelters last year, but we still worked with the shelter because their walls are bare. So they asked
Hmm.
us to do artwork for the pieces for their wall. So the kids all worked on, oh my gosh, it was so challenging. Bottle cap art for dogs and of a dog, and boy, that was hard. That was a learning experience for me too, but we still do things for the shelters. I know that I have a school that's going to do a huge fundraiser for the shelters. Another one's going to do a blanket collection. They still do it even if they can't go out to the shelter
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
yeah, kids
There's
and animals go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's just
I love how you say that. That's great.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, no, because there really is still such a need because the animals are still in the shelters, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
all the things that you and your different schools are doing, even if you can't be there training the dogs, it still makes a difference.
It still makes
Like
sense.
anything that we can do right now to help out the shelters,
Mhm.
I'm sure it's really appreciated. So
Yeah. I was
go
going to
ahead.
say, kids also know I'm a vegan, and they all know why. So, and I share with them, animals, planet, people. We need to take care of one another, and so a lot of them are learning what a vegan is, and some of the kids have even said they've gone vegetarian. I said that's a good step. That's a good step.
It's a
So,
first step, isn't it?
mhm.
Well, because I agree, like, with you, that it's not just caring about our companion animals. It's caring about all animals. It doesn't stop it with the dogs and cats that are in our home. It really
Correct.
extends compassion
Mhm.
for all animals. So
Right.
I'm with you on that. So yes, I am also a certified humane education
Mhm.
specialist, but you're a teacher who is a certified humane education specialist. So you've been able to really use the certification, really much more than I have. Tell me about some of the other things that you've done with the certification.
Um, I thought I said it. Okay,
You
so
probably did, but if there's
did,
anything.
but what we did, one other thing we did with our SPCA in Titusville is an amazing shelter. So several years ago, we went down. They actually have a classroom. So we went in and decorated the classroom, supplied it with books for them to read with the kids that go in because they had a certified humane educator there as well.
Hmm.
And we wrote the lesson plans for the shelter.
Right.
Two other teachers and I got together and went over there over the summer to get it set up for them. So other than the teachers doing what they can in the classroom to teach empathy and compassion, that's what we did on the outside. And I know that there's another sanctuary that's trying to get built. It takes a long time to build a sanctuary, I'm discovering, but they also want a classroom as well. So have asked me to go in and help them set that up. So
Wow.
that would be another
Great.
step as well. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's exciting. So, going back to what you said before, what you've said before, and I love it, kids and dogs go together like peanut butter and jelly. I do love that. Um, what, how does, this work? I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? But I just want to hear you say it. How does this work help the dogs and the kids? I mean, we've been sort of talking about it, but if you can sort of put it in under one umbrella, that would be great.
I have so many stories, and every year this has happened. Not, I'm telling you, every year, the first trip to the shelter, I have had to help kids get through the tears. They've never been. A lot of them have not been exposed to that. To see these animals locked up like this and asking me, just I don't get it. Why? So then that's when we take everything as a teaching moment. you know um I and a lot of times it's the girls, and I sit there and they say, I don't know that I'm comfortable with this anymore. And a lot of people say, how can you do this? And I say, because these kids understand that they actually, they're going, okay, let me back up. So with the girls that are very upset over this, we sit down and I'd say, okay, if you didn't do this, who will?
Mm-hmm.
You may be upset because the dog that you just connected with has to stay there, but you may have just changed that dog's life. You actually went in there, you worked with that dog, you gave that dog all the love that you can, you were compassionate with the dog. You probably most likely just saved that dog's life. And Brevard County is now a no-kill county. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, it's really great. So so they're all, and it's so funny because when they go back and they're, where's my dog? And I went, see, you got the dog out of here. You found that dog a home. Now let's go do another one, so
Yeah.
type of thing. And there is a group here. They used to do the Canine Commandos, but they're kids that are, that live in a therapy group, and they started doing it, and they all have pit bulls, and they all talk about how, great it is to have a pit bull. My pit bull's better than your pit bull. So they took the kids there, and the kids just melted when they realized, oh my gosh, this is what we've caused. That is the biggest eye opener I think you can give, because they know that the pit bull is no more dangerous than any other dog. In fact, my kids know that the number one, here we go,
Dad's home.
the dog that has the most bites reported is actually a dachshund, not a
Really?
pit. Yeah. So I know my kids do a lot of lessons. They do a lot of research on animals, and Animal Farm Foundation. That's my kids too.
Wait, hang on 1 second because I can't hear. Let's wait till Dad comes in.
It's gonna be a few minutes. Hi everybody, there's my corgis. There's Bongo.
Oh my goodness.
Daddy's home.
Anyway, okay. So you were saying, I really loved the way you handled these kids, and they're upset, because I've walked into a shelter with a classroom of kids in a different program here in California, and the kids and they're older. These are high school kids, but they have the same reaction, like, wait, this is where the dogs live, like, and there's tears because they didn't realize it. But it goes back to one of your favorite words, which is empathy. This is how these kids learn empathy. Like, no, this is not ideal, but we're here to help. And what you're doing is making a difference to these dogs.
I hope so. That's the whole point. Not only making a difference for the dogs, but for the kids. It's, I have students that have gone on to be veterinarians. And, okay, guys. Hey, Dad, can you come on? just left.
Okay.
Hey, shh, Moxie. I forgot what I was saying.
You're talking about how the kids. We were talking about the kids benefiting also.
I think the kids benefit probably as much, if not more, especially when I still am in touch with a lot of kids that have graduated from college and still, have great memories of this and still volunteer. I have one that was with my very, very first class. He's a pilot. He was wanted to volunteer, but then COVID happened. So, and I have kids, 2003, first class that wants to come back and help with the commandos. That is amazing.
That is amazing.
It is amazing. I love it.
They really feel connected to the program.
Yes.
So do you have a favorite story that you'd like to share?
I do. I have one. And with the group of boys I was telling you about, one boy, when they leave this therapy group, they have to give up and they talk about something they're going to take back. One of the boys said, in where I lived down in Miami, if stray cats, he said that we are not nice to the cats. He said when he went to the shelter and they got to work with the cats, socialize with the cats, he realized the cats need just as much respect as the dogs, and that his goal is to go back and talk to his peers that we need to respect the cats and give them as much care as we do with the dog. For me, that is the story that is going to stick with me forever.
Because it's because peers will listen to their peers.
Correct.
Right? And him going back and saying something is at least going to put a spark in everybody else. At the minimum, it's going to put a spark. And there's a ripple effect there. It's kind of brilliant. Well, that's wonderful, Virginia. Is there anything that I missed that you wish that I had said? Because I just want to make sure we shared everything, because I know that in the 3-minute video that we only had 3 minutes. So I wanted you to come out today and spend a little more time. Is there anything else that I missed?
I just want to thank all the supporters, all the donors that feel that this is a very worthwhile program that's helping us stay in business, so to speak, except, right now COVID's not helped us, but all the people that have supported the program, from the school board down to the classroom. Get that wonderful. Working.
That's wonderful. Well, where can people find out more about Canine Commandos?
At www.caninecommandos.org.
Wonderful. So feel free to go check them out, learn more about Canine Commandos, learn more about AIM Humane, and where you can, contact Virginia and maybe do some classroom work with your students. She's a wonderful guide, and I'm sure if you reach out to her, she'll be more than happy to help you. So
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful, Virginia. Before we go, I'll say the official goodbye to you in a few minutes, but before we go, a few quick announcements. The first is feel free and please do join our Facebook group, The Science and Magic of the Human-Animal Bond, if you haven't already. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Animal Magic Films. You can visit animalmagicfilms.com to join our community and learn about upcoming films and news. And little spoiler alert, we have another film coming out in a few weeks. You're welcome to email me at diane@animalmagicfilms.com. And let's go back to you so that people can see where they can find you if they have any questions or would like to learn more. So thank you again, Virginia, for joining us today. Thank you for the amazing work that you do, not only as a teacher, but with the Canine Commandos, with AIM Humane. You have a heart of gold. In fact, when my crew came back to me after filming you a year and a half ago, whenever that was, before COVID, they said, this woman is a gem. She has such a big heart. That's
what our program's called, Gems.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it was, and I agreed with them immediately.
They were great. They were easy to work with, too. You've got a great crew there. Yeah, I'm so glad you're in my life, Diane.
Oh, it's a pleasure. When you and I connected originally a few years ago, we were like, we have to know one another. And so it's been a great relationship.
Yes.
So thanks again. Thank you for all your work that you do to bring animals and people together. And thank you to everybody who spent some time with us today. We will actually be back next week. We don't usually do them back to back, but we missed one a couple weeks ago because I stepped on a bee. So I know that's a whole, you'll hear the story, but yeah, so my foot's better. We'll be back next week with the makeup interview with another fabulous guest. So looking forward to that. Thanks again, Virginia. It's been lovely seeing you. Bye, everybody.